Flight boss, bitch. Alright, now. Sagittarius. Is you about that life? Loyalty. Let's break it down. Let's see. Now, Sagittarius rules the 9th house. So what's the 9th house? 9th house is long distance travel, higher learning. You know what I'm saying? Experiences. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, anytime you're dealing with experience, you're dealing with time. Anytime you're dealing with time, you're dealing with experience. So anytime you extract anything out of that, it can only be wisdom. You can only learn. So, I say that to say this. It's ruled by Jupiter also. Jupiter is the planet of expansion. Jupiter is the planet of wisdom. Jupiter is how you actually learn. And so whatever your Jupiter at, that's how you learning in this time, space, and continuum we in right now. So Jupiter itself, it rules Sagittarius. So the Sagittarius archetype of people, Sagittarius, sun sign, whatever. These people have an expansion when it comes to ideas, thinking, broad thinking, metaphorically thinking, philosophizing, you know what I'm saying, critical thinking, you know what I'm saying, question asking, question answering, preaching, teaching, learning. You know what I'm saying? This is Jupiter. You know what I'm saying? So we got fire. Sagittarius fire. We got mutable fire. You know what I'm saying? We got this. So what is mutable? We know mutable is adapting, changing, and relating. And it's doing that with fire. So we know Sagittarius adapt, change, and relate to other people's feelings and the way they see things and other people's visions. So Sagittarius like to look towards other people's visions and other people's way of seeing things and other people's feelings and come to the conclusion of how it could be related amongst all. So when you have that here, that's a pleasant thing for being loyal right here. But let's finish breaking it down. Like, okay, but look, here's we get things fucked up. We know fire is the seer. We know fire is the seer and the filler. So a lot of times it can see if you're being genuine or not. You know what I'm saying? And it may say a lot of goofy things or do a lot of goofy things to try to bring this out of you. And if it see that it's not coming out of you, or it see that you're restraining certain things, the Sagittarius is going to appear to look at you as ungenuine or non-genuine. Now, when it comes towards the fall, now Mercury falls here. You know what I'm saying? No, Mercury is away here. It's away. So it's at work. Mercury is at work. It's at a place it don't want to be, but it's using the tools that I have to use in order to get the job done. So that's what Mercury does when it's in Sagittarius. So what happens here is, see, Mercury is how you think and how you communicate. But in this lifetime, Sagittarius has to work on better communication style. Like, they have to work on not having to put extra meaning behind everything. They have to work on critical thinking, because they could think from a broad aspect like yin type things, but they can't quite bring it into yang wording right. You know what I'm saying? So Sagittarius have to work on better communication skills. A lot of times they may say a lot of things at the wrong time. You know what I'm saying? Maybe their feelings be all over the place, especially if it's in the moon sign. You would think when times are supposed to be serious, you may think as you may start smiling and get goofy because you don't know how you actually supposed to feel in that situation. And when things get overexcited and happy, you may want to be the downer and may want to show people that people could be down at this time too, and everything is not. It's like that's the little thing is shared with Gemini. Sometimes it can switch up on you, but it switch up on you for a meaning. And Gemini switch up on you for like information or a communication type of tactic. You know what I'm saying? That's the difference. Now, for the most part, Sagittarius is, again, in this lifetime, they have to work on seeing the details, which that's, again, Mercury again. When Mercury is at work here, Sagittarius has to work on understanding detail, not being so reckless and careless and looking over the little things, not being too broad, but look at what's actually in that broadness and pinpoint something out of it. You know what I'm saying? Get into detail. So that's another thing with Sagittarius is have to learn in this lifetime also. So a lot of times this may put them in relationships that they don't really want to be in, or they thought the relationship was going to be one way, so they just jumped into it naive, and then the situation went into a whole nother way. So you have to watch that also. Now, and this is why a lot of times they become flighty and people think that they're not stable. It's not that they're not stable, it's that they jumped in something that they wasn't quite ready for. So they jump out of it just as fast as they jumped in it. But they so upbeat, optimistic, so charismatic that they made you feel like that they was actually on it the time that they was doing that. So when they switch up on you, it make you feel like the basic switch of the archetype of Gemini, those constructs. You know what I'm saying? Balanced constructs. So, you know, Sagittarius is about that life. Now, I also want to state this too. Sagittarius is they like to see the way other people see things. So like fire burns through reality. So a lot of times they're not practical. You know what I'm saying? They're not thinking practically. You know what I'm saying? They're going a lot of times off faith, inspiration, aspiration, and stuff like that. So a lot of times when a person try to plan and date a lot of things with a Sag may act like they're into it, but the moment that it get finalized, they're trying to find their way out of it. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of times they like to escape certain first realms of reality if it was thrown upon them. Like if you throw on them a responsibility or throw on them a realm of reality, they're going to want to escape that. You can't throw something that you feel or think or your outlook onto them. They're going to escape that. They're too mutable for that. So Sagittarius is about that life, loyalty. I'm going to say no. Nah, they're not about that life. And here's why. Because they're too busy trying to find meanings behind things, to the point that they have to understand that some things don't mean anything. Some things is just for the sake of experiences, for the sake of experience, and then that's how you get the meaning out of it, through the experience. But if you can't find a meaning in it that's worth you going through it to experience it, then you're going to do a lot of life without meaning to it. Just being a long life hippie or explorer or something like that. So you're never going to settle down with one because you're going to be too busy thinking that there's so many out here that I want to look at the options first before choosing one, to the point that you never got to choose one and then all the options leave. So if you're a Sagittarius, you kind of know what I'm trying to say. So Sagittarius about that life, loyalty? Nah. Now let's get into Capricorn. It's Capricorn's about that life, loyalty. Let's figure it out. Now, Capricorn. Capricorns are cardinal. We know cardinal creates newness. We know Earth is the thinkers and the practicality, the senses. So we know off the bat, Capricorns are here to create and initiate new ways of thinking and being practical, using common sense or whatever like that. Boom. We know this, right? So boom, now when we get to the 10th house, Capricorn rules the 10th house. The 10th house is status, how you're seen, reaching the status quo, your goals, how people see you or to perceive you. You know what I'm saying? Your outlook, what you're known for, what you accomplished, how did you climb the ladder. So right here, Capricorn is ruled by Saturn. It's ruled by Saturn. So Saturn is how one builds structure in one life. And it's also where one put boundaries, restrictions, and limits on to certain situations in their life, depending on what house is in or whatever. Like that's where you're going to put boundaries and restrictions and limits in. Now, as far as just a basic archetype by Saturn ruling Capricorn, this make Capricorns like structure. They like being organized. They like dates. They like planning. They like seeing things. And then they like to be the ones who do it. Because like I said, it's cardinal. Create and initiate. So they like to be the ones to do it. They like to be the ones to initiate a cause, a practicality, or a thinking process when it comes to building. When it comes to building structure in their life. And they like to be stable. Also with Saturn being home here, Saturn gets to do what it wants to do when it wants to do it here. So in Capricorn, it puts boundaries and restrictions and limits on the things that should be that should have boundaries in your life in. See, when people have messed up Saturns in their life, they put boundaries and restrictions and limits on in areas of their life that it shouldn't be. If you have Saturn and Capricorn, you kind of put them in the right places. But just as an archetype, as a sun sign Capricorn, you kind of have a sense, and even if your other signs make you don't do it, you have a sense of organizing, setting things the way it's supposed to be, lining things up, making sure things go towards protocol, and initiating it, and going for it. Now, also, it's the senses, it's not the feelings. So it has to be real. Yeah, you have to make it real. Now, also, we have the moon. We have the moon being at work here in Capricorn. The moon is at work in Capricorn. You know what I'm saying? So, and I want to say, well, the moon is in Capricorn. You know what I'm saying? It's at work. It's at a place that it don't want to be, but it has to utilize and use what it has to use in order to get the job done. You know what I'm saying? So, right here off the back, that tell you that Capricorns, in this lifetime, Capricorns have to work on their emotions. They have to work on their feelings. They have to work on relating better. You know what I'm saying? They have to work on their reactions. They have to work on the things that they actually react to in this lifetime. Like, they may not react to a person's emotions or how a person feel. Their reactions may not be emotional or feeling. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of times they may not be able to connect with people the way people want to be connected with them. You know what I'm saying? To experience life really, and not just think life is all about the material. You'll feel like life is about a deeper message. You know what I'm saying? And this are the more mature Capricorns. The more mature Capricorns become spiritual in this lifetime. Now, when we get to also, you know what I'm saying? When it comes to Capricorn, Jupiter falls here. Jupiter falls here. You know what I'm saying? Because Jupiter is exalted in Cancer. So Jupiter falls in Capricorn. So, like I said, when a planet is asleep, it's in a dream world. You know what I'm saying? It think it can do things it really can't. It can have a nightmare or it can have a beautiful dream. Now, here, you know what I'm saying, when it comes to Jupiter, the beautiful dream will be learning, experiencing, gaining all this knowledge, you know what I'm saying, expanding on all your aspirations and benefits. The nightmare of Jupiter is having a hard time of learning, not gaining wisdom out of things, experiencing a lot of bad situations, you know what I'm saying, being placed in a lot of situations that's making you learn things other than being happy that you learned that out of the situation. You start to feel stressed, your world start to get small and crumble and not expand. So when we have right here Capricorn, Jupiter falls here. So Jupiter is asleep. So right now, another thing when planets are asleep, it can see things that you can't see. Like when you go to sleep, you can see things that a person who woke can't see. So for an example, Jupiter in Capricorn, what happens here is Jupiter, like, a lot of times Capricorns be thinking they have meanings behind what they're actually trying to think about or practicalize and conversate with you about. You know what I'm saying? A lot of times they be thinking they have meaning to it, but then when they say it, it be so surface level, you be like, dude, you thought all day about that? That's not even deep. You know what I'm saying? So sometimes it can play out like that. You know what I'm saying? Also, with the moon right here being asleep, a lot of times their Capricorn's reactions and the way they react to things may be late. So when someone is coming to you and wants you to feel a certain way about something or needs you to jump to something, you could be kind of late to that. You could be kind of like react to it late because it's the moon in the dream world. It doesn't even know if that was really going on. You know what I'm saying? So you can sit here and be emotionally telling a Capricorn like, man, this just happened and this just happened and I don't know what's going on. And they just had the driest face ever. And you just have to look at them like, do you know what's wrong? And then they have to tell you something like that makes sense or something that you can do to help your situation. And then at that point, you don't even want to hear that. You just want to hear some type of compassion for your situation from them, and then you might not get that. So you start thinking that they're cold or too reserved or too conservative, and that's just not the case. They feel you. It's just you're not going to get that expression because their sun sign is in Capricorn, and the sun is your actions and the way you act. And they're not going to act emotional. They're not going to act that way because the moon is asleep here. The moon falls here. So it's in another world here. Now sometimes they can get over dramatic, over emotional, overreactive, to the point that people look at them and say that you're not acting in your true self. So that's how Capricorn sun signs will be looked at if they start to get too emotional, too moody. People gonna look at it like you're not being yourself, or you're not doing this, you're not making sense, you're not being practical. So Capricorns be having it hard a lot of times because they be wanting to express certain things, but when they express it, they always got to look at people looking at them like, oh, well, why you feel like that? You supposed to be got it all together and this, that, and third. And Capricorns be wanting to hold that up, but sometimes they be wanting to be dumb and naive just like y'all too. Like, damn, don't hold me to no father, mother figure all the goddamn time. I'm being a goddamn Capricorn. I'm not a Capricorn, but you know, that's how Capricorns may feel sometimes. Like, damn, don't hold me to all this righteousness all the time, but y'all fuck up in front of me and y'all need me to tell y'all what y'all doing wrong. I want to fuck up sometimes too, like y'all. I want to get just as high as y'all sometimes too. But the moment they do that, they get looked at like that. So, you know, Capricorns be having it rough a lot of times. You know what I'm saying? But it's Capricorns about that life, loyalty. You know what I'm saying? Now, we have to break down everything. We would just break it down in order to know what kind of construct that's going to come to that. Now, it's Capricorns about that life, loyalty. No. Capricorns are not loyal at all. You know what I'm saying? Now, here's why. If you develop some type of structured plan with them or develop some type of thing that y'all could build on, they're going to be loyal to that. And if you're needed for that, then that's how they become loyal to you. But just being loyal for the sake of being loyal, no, because they're going to look at you like either you're a crutch, or if they need you and you're their crutch, they're going to start to look at it like, I can't take this anymore, I have to do something. So eventually that'll fade also. So yeah, they're not gonna. No, Capricorns isn't loyal. You have to be something you have to be a part of what they have going on or what they got to do. If you're just there and around and you don't even want to apply yourself, or they don't even see no traits of themselves in you as far as attacking goals, and to the point that in the future this could be combined in a way, they're not going to be loyal to you. They're loyal to plans, construct. They're not loyal to emotions and feelings. And a lot of times, relationships and loyalty in relationships is based upon the feelings and the emotions in it. And Capricorns don't have that in that area. You know what I'm saying? So, no, they're not about that life. Now, Aquariuses. Is Aquariuses about that life? Loyalty. Now, let's break it down. Let's see. Now, Aquariuses is fixed air. It's fixed air. So we know fixed is being fixated on its own way, and in this case, its own way of thinking and communicating. Because we know air element is thinking and communicating. So we know Aquarius is in this world to have their own way and their own unique way of communicating and thinking. So, now, this rules the 11th house also. Unfamiliar places and faces. You know what I'm saying? So, you know what I'm saying? How you conduct yourself in the public arena, or how you conduct yourself amongst people who may not know what's going on, or people who may not know you, or how you conduct yourself amongst a lot of people who do know you. Now, Aquarius is ruled by Saturn and Uranus. So we know Saturn is how one builds structure in one life, but it's also where one going to see or put boundaries or restrictions and limits in their life. We know Uranus is change and rebellion, but we know it's also uniqueness and originality. 1 second. So when we get to that, right? So yeah, when we get to that, right? Now Aquarius is right. They're gonna build the construct, and they're gonna build stability, and they're gonna build boundaries and restrictions and limits on the conversation, the communication, and thinking limits that they may have on others, or others they may have on them. So Aquarius is going to be fixated. They're going to think what they want to think. They're going to communicate what they want to communicate. They're going to talk. They're going to let you know what they want you to know. You You know what I'm saying? You may not know everything about this Aquarius. And this what makes them quirky and weird after a while to you, because they start to develop that energy once they start to act in those ways for so long. You know what I'm saying? Now, also, the sun. The sun is away here. So the sun is at work. So the sun is at work. So the sun is at a place that it don't want to be, but it has to use the tools that it has to do in order to get the job done. So when the sun is at work in Aquarius, what happens here is the basic archetype of Aquarius is, in this lifetime, Aquarius has to work on taking action. They have to work on their actions, work on their vitality, work on their energy, work on expressing their true self, and not just expressing their communication and the way they think. Now this is the difference between that, because this makes them unique, because they come up and think of ways of expression other than just expressing themselves every day, all day. They sit back and think. They got their own way of thinking, their own way of communicating, so they're going to understand where things is going and how people see things. Then they come and create, see, like I said, fixated. They fixate on their own thing. Then they come up with the conclusion of how they want to express themselves. And a lot of times it be in good taste, analytic wise, scientifically, it be in good taste. How they think and communicate, it be in good taste. But how they may act and their actions may be off a little bit, maybe weird a little bit, maybe not how people may see how a person is supposed to use their vitality. This is what makes them unique. This is what makes them, like, this is like how you see it when it manifests down on earth. This makes an Aquarius may not dress like you. They may dress their own unique way. So this is what you see for them. It's not like their actions and the way they act is not in the basic construct of what you see normal people actions and the way they act of. You know what I'm saying? Another thing too is because the sun is at work here, so they have to work on that. They have to work on showing people that their true intentions of what they really mean and how to act. You know what I'm saying? Also, with the sun here being at work, a lot of times, see, when it comes to their actions and the way they act, they don't act in the way that people want them to act. So they have their own way of acting. They have their own way, because they're thinking, they're communicating. So once they see you trying to put on a perception of how they should be, they're going to do the opposite and act in other ways. Like I said, because it's at work. They have to work on this. You know what I'm saying? So if it's something you throwing on to them, like they supposed to already know the proper way to act in that situation, they're going to set themselves aside and detach themselves until they develop to themselves the right thinking construct and the right communication skill in order to process what they need to take actions on. You know what I'm saying? So this is what makes them organizational type people, because they communicate with structure. They communicate with the Saturn there. They construct their way of thinking and communicating. So when it come across to them communicating with others, it always come into a way of like they're trying to build something or gather something or connect something or put something together. So this is what makes them humanitarians, organizational, be able to create organizations. You know what I'm saying? Due to that fact, with the air and the Saturn construct. Now with the Uranus construct, this is going to make them do it in a unique and original way. But it's also going to cause changes. And wherever there's a change, it has to be something that was rebelled against in order to cause the change. So a lot of times they may get opposed. People may not like their differences, but then this what makes them unique. You know what I'm saying? So it's Aquarius is about that life, loyalty. Now I'm gonna say, let's break it down a little bit more. Now it rules the 11th house. So the 11th house is unfamiliar places and faces, right? So with Saturn being one of the rulers of Aquarius, it's gonna build structure around groupings of people. So I want to say, no, Aquarius is not about that life. They're not about that loyal life, but they can be loyal. Now, but it's not tricky. Here's why. they like to be loyal to concepts that they built structure in their head. They're going to build a constructural concept in their head of how they think things are supposed to be. So if that's in the relationship realm of reality, they're going to construct their own way of thinking about that. And that's how they're going to communicate it. So in their way, they don't even mind being friends with you your whole life. You could be mates with an Aquarius and they wouldn't mind never marrying you, but they wouldn't mind you being there for the rest of their life either.